If you're a first-time buyer in California, especially here in San Diego, chances are the biggest thing holding you back isn't your motivation to own, it's the down payment. Prices are high, rent isn't helping you save, and even your income is solid, but coming up with that upfront cash can feel impossible. That's not a failure on your part. That's just the reality of buying here in San Diego. Well, I got some good news for you. Here in California, there's the California Dream for All program that was created specifically to help with this issue. It's designed to help first-time buyers bridge the gap between what they can afford monthly and what they need upfront to actually get in a home. For the right person, this program can make buying a home actually feel realistic instead of damn near impossible. And that's why it's worth understanding. Now, like anything involving money, this program isn't magic and it's not free cash with no strings attached.
Are you kidding me?
It's a fair trade-off though. Access to homeownership now in exchange for sharing a portion of your appreciation later on. When you understand it clearly and use it intentionally, it can be a powerful tool. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through everything you need to know about the Dream for All program so that you have the best chances of cashing in on the opportunity. If you don't know me yet, I'm Karl, your San Diego realtor. I've been helping first-time buyers here in San Diego since 2004. And year after year, the biggest challenge I see is never motivation, it's affordability and that freaking down payment. Prices here are tough and most buyers feel like they're doing everything right and still coming up short, which is exactly why this program matters. Now, real quick, if you're actively looking for an agent or just want to see if we'd be a good fit working together, my contact info is in the description below. Feel free to reach out, let's have a chat. Now, let's get back to what this program has to offer. At a very basic level, Dream for All is California's stepping in to help first-time buyers with the hardest part of buying home, the upfront cash. Instead of you having to come up with a massive down payment on your own, the state can contribute up to 20% of the purchase price, not to exceed $150,000 in assistance, in an effort to help you get into a home. That money can be used towards your down payment and in some cases your closing costs. So you can literally buy a home with practically no money out of pocket.
I don't believe this.
For a lot of buyers, that alone can be the difference between renting forever and actually owning something. Now here's the part where everyone stops and says,
what's the catch?
Well, there's no monthly payment on this assistance and no interest is building up over time. You don't pay it back every month like a normal loan. Instead, the state only gets paid back when you sell or refinance. And when that happens, they get back what they put in plus a portion of the home's equity growth. And that's exactly why this program can be powerful, but also it needs to be understood before you just jump in. Let's walk through exactly who this works for and see if it's a fit for you. This is the part where a lot of people get excited and then get disappointed later on if they don't understand the rules up front. Let's avoid that for you right now. Dream for All is designed for first-time buyers only. And it goes a step further than that. At least one borrower on the loan has to be what California defines as a first-generation home buyer. And that definition is very specific. This is not a loose interpretation kind of thing. First generation means you've never owned a home before, and to the best of your knowledge, your parents do not currently own a home in the United States. There are some exceptions tied to foster care or institutional care, but documentation is required. This is where a lot of people assume they qualify only to find out later that they don't. That's why this needs to be confirmed early on, not after you've already fallen in love with a home. Now, on top of that, all borrowers still have to be first-time buyers. At least one borrower has to be a current California resident, and your household income has to fall within the program limits for the county that you're buying in. Now, here in San Diego County, that income cap is $207,000, which is higher than most people expect, but it is a hard limit, and there's no flexibility whatsoever if you're over that line. Next, let's talk about how the award process actually works, because this part really matters for you. Dream for All is a voucher-based program, which means you don't just apply whenever you want like a lot of the other first-time buyer assistance programs. When registration opens for Dream for All, which right now is expected to be early 2026, you sign up during a set window, and then the vouchers are awarded through a randomized drawing later, basically like a lottery. If you've ever tried Comic-Con tickets, it's a very similar process. With that being said, the vouchers are not awarded first come, first serve. They are awarded after the application window is closed and then the applications are reviewed. If your name is selected, that voucher is essentially your golden ticket. It's what allows you to actually move forward and use the program when you buy a home. Without the voucher, you're not in the program, even if you otherwise qualify. Now, if you're awarded the voucher, there's a few additional steps that kick in afterwards. One of those is completing an approved homebuyer education course, which is only required after you're selected for the voucher. The good news is that these courses are pretty straightforward and extremely manageable. They're not designed to trip you up or to slow you down or for you to fail out of the program. This part is really about making sure you understand the process and the responsibility that comes with owning a home. Now, where preparation makes the biggest difference for you is before any of this even starts. Talking with a lender early, well ahead of the registration window, gives you time to dial everything in so you're ready if your name gets picked. Maybe that means cleaning up a few things on your credit, gathering specific employment or income documentation, or it could just be confirming how your numbers actually look on paper. All of this is normal, and it's much easier to deal with when you're not under the pressure of the window or the application window being open and you rushing to get an application submitted in time. At the end of the day, Dream for All isn't meant to be a last-minute decision. It's best for buyers who understand the process, prepare early, and put themselves in the strongest possible position before the window even opens. And when you do that, when you do all of the pre-qualification process ahead of time, the whole experience feels a lot less stressful and a lot more empowering. Now, this is where I want to bring in a lender's perspective, because programs like this always sound great on paper, but the real question is how they actually work in practice. Matt Kish at Movement Mortgage, a regular guest here on my channel, has been in the trenches with buyers using the Dream for All program for some time now. So instead of me paraphrasing it, I want you to hear it directly from him on why this program stands out and what really makes it just so much better and at the same time different than the other buyer assistance programs that are out there.
Well, the difference between this program and most of the government assistant programs for first-time home buyers or any home buyers for that matter is it's 20% down. And it's not it's a silent loan, right? So you're not paying on it every month. It's due if you change the loan parameters or if you sell the place. But as far as repay, you're not repaying the 20% on a monthly basis. And I think that's what makes this stand out above most of the other down payment assistance programs is there's not this big upfront fee to get this money. And the way this money helps, the amount of money that you are potentially get it into your pockets is just a wow moment. 20% down, free money from the government, free money, but free nonetheless from government assistance is huge, and I've seen it work. So this program above all the other government assistance programs is number one for me.
Now, the next question I always get is what happens if you stay in the home for the long term? What if you buy, raise your family there, pay off the mortgage, and never refinance? That's a real concern, and it's an important one to understand. Here's what Kish had to say.
You're winning the game. That balance does not come due unless you change the loan or unless you sell the house. So if you get in this place with their program and you stay there for eternity, then you win. The money it doesn't come due because you haven't changed the parameters of the loan, and that's it. But I imagine if and once you do pass away and they go to sell that place or change the loan parameters, then you're going to have to repay.
That distinction matters a lot. The assistance doesn't actually come due just because time passes. It only comes into play if and when you decide to sell or refinance. For some buyers, that flexibility alone makes this program far more realistic than other options that they've looked at. Now, nothing is perfect, and it's important to talk about the trade-offs or cons of this program. Dream for All isn't free money. It's a partnership, and the biggest trade-off is sharing a portion of the appreciation when you eventually sell or refinance.
Cons, yeah. I mean, no money is free money, right? So this is a shared appreciation program too. You're also going to be given back a little bit on the back end, right? So what does that mean? So just round numbers, right? You're looking at a $500,000 place, a condo, house, townhouse, whatever that is in California for you. You're looking at that place, you're getting 20%. So now your loan amount is $400,000. right? It's great. You got $100,000 from the government that's due back when you change. But as you're gaining appreciation, once this loan comes due, whether you sell or refinance, 20% of that appreciation is also due back to CalHFA, right? So what does that mean? If you bought a $500,000 place, you borrowed $100,000, you owe $400,000, and now the home value is $600,000 after 5 years, right? So you've earned $100,000 in equity, and you want to sell the place, right? So $100,000 from the 20% you borrowed is due, and now 20% of that equity is due. So now you owe an extra $20,000 to CalHFA. You take the 80, right? So you're up 80 grand for doing nothing other than paying your mortgage for the last 5 years, and you're giving 120 back to CalHFA because you borrowed 100 up front and you're sharing appreciation. The 20% is the extra 20 grand that you're putting up. So as far as cons, that's the con, right? Like at the end of the day, you're giving up 20% of your appreciation, but it wasn't yours to begin with because you would have never gotten into that house.
That's the part you really need to sit with here. Yes, you're sharing some appreciation down the road, but the flip side of this is without the program, a lot of buyers would have never owned a home in the first place. You can't share appreciation on something that you've never had access to. That's the lens I want to encourage you to look at this program through when evaluating if this is right for you. Now, one last point that Matt covers here is especially important. What if you've already have some cash saved up? Should you throw everything you have into the purchase, or in this scenario, does it make sense to sometimes use the program and keep some liquidity, the cash that you saved, in your pocket?
It's always all about planning. It's always all about running the scenario side by side. It's all about what is your goal for the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? What's the goal for this property? Is this are we going to live in this for eternity? And after we pass, are my kids going to have to sell it? Or is this just a stepping stone where in 2 years, 5 years, I'm out the door to the next place because I have a growing family, or I'm deployed and I'm only going to be in California for so long. So that's the question is, do I keep this 100,000 in my pocket and let it grow at 10%, 20%, wherever you're keeping your cash? Or do I use the dream for all, knowing that at the end of the day, I'm going to have to pony up some cash on the back end? We got to weigh those two options against each other and make sure the one that you choose is best for you and your financial future going forward. So that's a great question, but it's also a scenario I'm going to run in real time with anybody who qualifies for this program, because I want to know, especially if you're showing that you're holding cash on the side, what does that look like if some of it's in this scenario, if none of it's in this scenario, if all of it's in this scenario, we're not even using Dream for All. So I definitely, if you have money on the sidelines, and that's the question is, should I throw some at this transaction or not? We got to run those scenarios side by side to make sure we're making the right choice.
And that's why this isn't a one-size-fits-all decision. The right move depends on your goals, your timeline, and how you want to position yourself financially after you buy. And that's exactly why having a lender involved early makes such a big difference. You're not guessing your way through this. Kish is there for you to run real scenarios to determine what makes the most sense for you. So here's the bottom line. Dream for All is an incredible opportunity for you to get into homeownership sooner than later, but it's not magic and it's not free money. It's a trade-off. Access now in exchange for sharing some of the upside later. And whether that trade-off makes sense for you really depends on your goals, your timeline, and what owning a home actually means to you. But let's be honest, the trade-off, though significant, is still very reasonable. If you're someone who's been stuck on the sidelines because coming up with the down payment feels impossible, this program might open a door that didn't exist before. But the key is understanding it fully and preparing the right way, not rushing into it or assuming it's a fit just because it sounds good. Now, if this video helps you, do me a favor and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps more people find this information, and it lets me keep putting out content like this for buyers trying to make a smart decision. Now, if you want to apply for the Dream for All program, contact me, or you can speak directly to Kish to get you approved and set your application up for submission. Our contact info is in the description below. As always, I'm Karl, your San Diego realtor. I'll see you next video.